Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Limits Movie Podcast. We got returning Henrik here from last time.
What's good? We're talking about
A super bad movie.
that's a good one. We're talking about Superbad. This movie's great. It's a comedy released in
Yes.
2007.
We got the guy from Wolf of Wall Street here. What's his name again? The fat guy.
Jonah Hill.
Yeah.
So we got Jonah Hill and Micah Cera. They're kind of the main characters.
Seth Rogen's in here.
Seth Rogen wrote it when he was like 13. It's a funny movie. Apparently, the two writers, Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, they wrote the script when they were 13 just because they wanted to see if they could write a movie. Fun fact, before we start, set the scene, if you will.
You got the fun facts this time.
Basically, I'm going to give you a brief overview before we go through the plot. These two kids, well, they're 18, I think. Anyway, senior year of high school, they're invited to a party, and they say they're going to bring booze, but they're only 18, so they can't buy booze. But they got to find a way.
They have a friend out here.
Fogel.
Yep.
He got that fake ID. He has a really terrible fake ID. And they got to get booze because they're trying to get chicks. So, I guess, should we start with the just go through the movie?
Yep.
All right.
So they go into this place to get the alcohol. They had a few tries beforehand.
So we can start with those, I guess. So first they're like, "Oh man, we gotta get some booze, man." You know what I'm saying? And then, so Seth goes in. Seth is kind of the main character, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna steal this booze." And he has this vision. Oh, I steal it. The cop sees me. He throws it at him, and he's like, "Oh!" And then the cop catches it, and he's like, "Oh, I can't do that because then the cop's gonna kill me." And then he sees this old lady. He helps the old lady. "Oh, here's all your booze." That doesn't actually happen. It was another vision, and then he chickens out. So he's like, "Oh man, I couldn't get that." And he runs back, and everyone's disappointed. Fogel and Evan and them, they're like, "Oh man, I couldn't get the booze." And then Fogel, he's like, "Guys, I have a fake ID." So then they go to a liquor store, and he gets all the stuff. He convinces the cashier that he is in fact 25 with the name McLovin. No last name, no middle name, just
name.
McLovin. And they're like, "Oh wow, McLovin, that's awesome. Here's your booze. You can pay now." And this robber comes in, boom,
Out of nowhere.
McLovin, Fogel, and then he falls down. He's like, "Oh no, man, I'm hit." And the lady's like, no, this can't be happening." And then two cops come in, and they're like, "Oh, let's get this guy." And then they try and get all the stuff about him, and then they see Fogel. They're like, "Oh wow, you were buying booze, I see. Can I see your ID?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, here's my ID,
I would
sir."
like to say this. Can we admit that maybe the best part of the movie is just these two cops chilling with the Fogel?
Yeah.
Like the scenes with them are great.
The two cops chilling with Fogel is maybe the best part of the movie because it somehow adds to the plot. It somehow makes it better.
They go to like a bar or something.
So these two cops are like, "Oh yeah, what's up, McLovin?" Clearly, they are fooled by the McLovin fake ID. So then
They're professionals, okay?
And they're gonna go drop him off, but then, oh no, they get a call. "Yo, we got this crazy guy at the bar. You gotta come help." So then they go and help, and they're like, "Oh yeah, McLovin, if you get the guy at the bar, we'll buy you a beer." Lo and behold, he gets the guy at the bar. They get a beer, and they go back and they're like, "Oh yeah, no, now you gotta really drop me off." And then let's see what happens after that. They're like, "Joey, do you remember what happens after they get the guy with the beer?" Because then they're just kind of chilling. Oh, they're doing cop stuff.
Yeah, they're having fun, you know.
And all of that.
Well, this is when they soon after this is when they meet up with the other two. Which
Yeah,
we can get to that now, I guess. Then.
So while that's happening, Seth and them, they're like, "Oh wow, let's go get alcohol." And then he gets hit by a car while they're arguing. And they're like, Seth is like, oh man, you better buy me some booze or give me some money to buy booze or I'm gonna report you because the guy had a warrant for his arrest. He's like, oh no, you can't do that. So then they take him to a party with a bunch of adults. And they're like, oh
This
wow,
is how they can get the alcohol.
now we can steal the alcohol. But that doesn't work out very well because Seth gets some blood on his pants. And they're all like, oh, wow, you were with my girl. So then they start to fight. But as they're fighting, Seth is like, he somehow gets away. By sheer luck, he gets away. And then he's like, oh, man, yeah, no, we need some booze, man. But I got some booze. Because he emptied out a laundry detergent bottle and filled it with alcohol he stole from the party.
Classic move.
And as they're going back, they're arguing. Seth gets pushed over, and then the cops with McLovin are there, and they hit him. And the cops try and essentially blackmail the kids into jumping out at them. But then Fogel hops out, about to give a testimony, and then all three of them run away. Fogel's got the booze, so does Seth. They're good. And then they eventually get to the party where everyone's drinking, having a good time, and they're all getting with their girls, right? Except it doesn't work out for one reason or another. Seth, he's drunk. His girl isn't. They're not having a good time. Seth punches her in the face and then falls to the ground, and the cops show up who interrupt Fogel. And Seth has to carry his best friend away while Fogel plays it off with the cops. And they reveal that they knew that he wasn't actually 25.
Actual.
Unlike McLovin.
These cops are smarter than you think.
The cops are smarter than you think. And that they were just trying to show Fogel. Like, oh, hey, yeah, cops, they can have a good time. Anyway, they're all completely drunk. So they go and burn the police car down while Fogel shoots at it to destroy the evidence. And in the end, things somehow work out. Because they both wake up the next day.
This movie is kind of ridiculous
And
if you think about it this way.
They go and meet their girls at the mall, and things work out. You know what I mean? So that's basically what happens.
Now that you summarize it, the movie sounds even more ridiculous than
it does sound quite ridiculous.
Is when you're watching it.
But it has some semblance of a plot, surprisingly. And it's really funny. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the scenes.
Pretty funny, yeah.
A lot of the scenes are what makes it good. Would recommend. I'll give it like a.
Well, we'll get to that. Okay, we got more time we need here.
We got more time.
So first off, I kind of skipped this at the beginning. Usually I do this at the very beginning, but what's your history with the movie?
History? I saw it like a year or two ago. Someone recommended it to me, and I thought it was funny. So I've watched it once or twice since then.
Yeah, apparently you watched it like 2 hours before we did this. You were just like, yeah, I need to do this right now.
I watched it again so I could give the most accurate description of the plot.
Because we were going to do this like a week ago, but you just didn't remember.
I forgot to watch the movie.
You're supposed to know the movie before you come on to these 100.
Hey, that was to record Frozen. It's fine.
Frozen video was great. But, yeah, I have zero history with this movie. I'd never seen it before. I watched it recently for this. It was pretty good. I'm not the biggest fan of the movie, but I think it's funny enough. I think it's a pretty good comedy. I would watch again.
My favorite aspect of it is how it really nails how kids talk to each other. Like, it kind of is perfect.
That's kind of fair.
Like, it clearly was written by someone who was in touch. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like if some hotshot executive was like, oh, let's write a movie about some high school adventure. And they're talking all fancy. They're like, you know what I mean? They're
kids
civil with each other. No, we're not. So, like, I don't know. It feels real. It's like that's kind of the best part of it to a certain extent.
It does feel kind of natural. I think the characters all have natural feeling relationships with each other for the most part.
And there's actual character growth too, which is really interesting to watch. Because like normally in a comedy, you don't really get that. It's just like there for the funny gags or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So some fun facts. Michael Cera's mother actually read the script and tried to convince him to try out for the part, which he ended up getting, being Evan Seth's friend. And let's see here. Jonah Hill and Seth were great friends. So that when Evan was casting, they weren't looking for a good actor. They were looking for a new best friend essentially to try and make it feel more authentic, which I think they really pulled off. I like the movie. I'll give it like an 8.5. What about you?
Can't do half ratings. I decided that once one episode.
What are you giving it then? I'll judge mine off that.
Oh, I don't know if you're gonna find this a little harsh. I think it's a fun movie. 6 out of 10.
I'll give
Would
it.
watch it again.
I'll give it a 9 then.
9.
I think a 9. 9 evens it out. To be fair.
Yeah, because I think it's a fun movie. I had a good time with it. Maybe if I watched it again, I'd like it more, just because I don't really have a connection with the movie at all, and maybe that's part of the rating.
It's a good movie to like. You don't watch it because you want a story necessarily.
It's kind of just like, yeah, a fun way
It's
to.
just a fun movie. It's like Elf. It's like Elf.
And did I give Elf a 6 as well, if I remember?
I think so.
I'm just really harsh with the movies you pick, Henrik. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I guess. All right, yeah, I'd recommend it.
Yeah, fun movie. Next time we're doing another. Well, Henrik's not going to be here, but it's going to be another comedy. One from the '70s. I'm not sure if you've heard of it. It's got a famous scene about a guy who gets his arms cut off, and that's all I'll tell you. So, see you then. Goodbye.
Bye.